A user named GixerJess said on Reddit, AITA for not wanting my sister-in-law, her husband, and 3 children at my birthday dinner? Backstory: my BF 26M and I, 26F, have been dating for a year and change, so I've spent a lot of time with all members of his family. His sister is a great person. However, hers and her husband's personalities are much louder than mine. I find when we spend time together, I am constantly talked over, invalidated, and overall ignored and made to watch the children when she is present. I was a preschool teacher for 7 years. A few weeks ago during family vacation, we were spending time in theme parks, but if she didn't want to ride a ride or watch a show, forget about it. They brought all 3 children, which my BF and I ended up watching most of the time, because she wasn't wanting to deal with them. In my family history, that is a big no-no. The parents watch the kids and don't pawn them off on other family members. We run a tight ship, LOL. During this same trip, she also announced she's pregnant. Found out that morning very early, which is great. But then the entire rest of the trip was all about her. She also has not told her father this, as he was not present during vacation. And they have a rocky relationship due to the stepmother, sister-in-law conflict. That's a whole other Reddit thread. With backstory concluded, I can now explain why I don't want them there. I originally planned my birthday dinner at the local Italian place, with just my mom and BF. Then it turned into inviting my BF's dad and stepmom. They cannot eat at said place because something they cook with makes them sick. So now I changed the eatery to Texas Roadhouse, somewhere we can all enjoy a meal. My BF then asks his sister plus her husband's kids to join us without asking my permission first. With that being said, this is the first time she will see her dad and the rest of this side of the family since finding out she's pregnant. I'm worried she's going to use my special dinner as an opportunity to make it about her because this side of the family hasn't seen her in months. My BF's reasoning for inviting them without asking was, if we don't invite them, it will make the rift worse, and now you get to celebrate with more people. So am I just being petty with anxiety because my birthday dinner completely changed into something I don't want? Or is it justified because of how I've seen her act before in similar situations? I just wanted a quiet dinner for my birthday. Hi all. Wanted to post update number 1. I sat down with my BF and explained how his choices have made me feel, my worries about his sister, and the fact my birthday is now a family reunion, like hundreds of you have said. He listened, apologized, understood. He called his sister and put his foot down that there is to be no baby talk, and if there is, then there will be even bigger issues in the family if she ruins my special day. She was on speakerphone and sounded genuine that she would not. With it being so early still, they plan to post and tell family friends on the 4th of July or soon after. That being said, I have scheduled my mom and myself a whole day, our favorite spots together, and dinner at the Italian place. And that will be exactly what I wanted for my quiet birthday. My BF said he will plan something separate, just the 2 of us as well. After the 4th, when I'm off work for the weekend, as I work the next few days straight while my bosses are on vacation, small town, small store, LOL. Thank you to everyone who commented, on my side or not. You've helped me see a broader range of emotions and intellect that I might have overlooked due to my own clouded perception. Changes will be made, and I will not be a doormat for anyone any longer. Much love. All right, everyone. Here are updates number 2, number 3, number 4, and number 5, since I haven't had a chance to post them individually. 2. We had family dinner. It was very loud, and we all didn't get to talk much due to Texas Roadhouse atmosphere, but that was to be expected on my end. My mom got a large cake so everyone could share, and I gotta say she outdid herself. It was amazing with plenty leftovers. My Sil and Beal only brought 1 child. The other 2 were with the other side of the family. And this child was well behaved, so nothing happened there. It was a good night just hanging out. Everyone had good vibes. And unfortunately, my FL did pay for everything, and I felt bad since I was drinking. But I know he wouldn't have paid for everyone if he didn't want to. 3. My mom and I had a fantastic outing, just her and I. We went to all of our favorite places and enjoyed a new restaurant actually. It honestly was the perfect day. 4. My SIL unfortunately lost the baby. They were planning to tell everyone on the 4th with fireworks and all that. But we are supporting her and her husband in their time of need. So now I do feel like the asshole, but it's a matter I couldn't have known would happen. I was basing my feelings and opinions on how she's acted in the past. 5. My BF has a special date night planned. Just him and I this weekend. I'm excited to see what he has in store. He has apologized profusely about his actions. He genuinely thought that I would want the whole family there, and he was trying to be helpful, but it backfired. And he does realize that. We've had some long talks about boundaries and asking before inviting in the future, no matter the occasion. So thank you again to everyone. My birthday turned out amazing after all, and I've learned some valuable insights from all y'all. Y'all. A Reddit user named Disastrous Gate commented, "Right? How rude of him to decide who OP's supposed to celebrate with. Why did he think she'd enjoy their company in the first place, instead of more of her friends/family? Sounds like he hijacked the birthday for his own agenda, and that's not loving partnership behavior." Infamous Cooker commented, "No, you were extra nice already to change the restaurant. No one gets to invite someone to someone's anything without permission, especially a birthday. You and your BF really need to sit down and talk." No. Daikon commented, "Take your mum to the original restaurant. Let your inconsiderate boyfriend take his obnoxious family to the Roadhouse. You are asking Spikising for one day to be about you. That isn't an unreasonable request. Your partner sucks."
Now let me tell you, sweetheart, as a man who's spent over 6 decades on this earth, and most of those years sitting across from couples in counseling chairs, I gotta say, you are not crazy. And you're not being petty either. You're just a young woman who wanted her birthday to be, well, about her. Imagine that. Now let me break this down the old-fashioned way, from 2 sides of the fence. Side 1, your side. And it's mighty reasonable. You wanted a quiet dinner, a little pasta, a little wine, some conversation with people who see you, not talk over you or treat you like free childcare. And honey, if I had a nickel for every woman I've counseled who's been voluntold into babysitting just 'cause she used to work with kids, I'd have a new base boat by now. You wanted your day, and I say that's your God-given right. See, birthdays aren't about cake or candles. They're about feeling seen, celebrated, and safe. And if someone else's personality bulldozes over yours every time they walk into a room, well, that ain't celebration, that's a takeover. Side 2, your boyfriend's intentions. Misguided, not malicious. Now, bless his heart, your fella thought he was being a peacemaker. I see this a lot with men in their 20s. They don't want to rock the boat, so they invite the whole darn cruise ship. But what he forgot was to check in with the captain of the birthday ship. That's you. He was trying to solve a family issue on a day that wasn't about family healing. It was about honoring you. That ain't malicious. It's just tone deaf. But you know what gives me hope? That boy listened. He called his sister. He put up some boundaries. He apologized. That tells me there's growth happening in that young man, and that's worth noticing. Now let me say this plain and simple. You're not the villain in this story. You're the narrator. You spoke your truth. You communicated your needs. And you took care of your peace without burning the whole barn down. That takes maturity. Even Jesus himself took time away from the crowds when he needed to. And girl, If the Son of God needed alone time, so do you. Life lesson, darling. One quiet dinner at an Italian place can teach you more about who loves you right than a loud dinner with 20 people who don't notice you're there. I'm proud of how you handled it. Grace, boundaries, forgiveness. That's the holy trifecta right there. Now I'll leave y'all with a little question. Just like I ask my group on Wednesday nights, what would happen in your life if you stopped asking, will they be mad if I say no? And started asking, will I be at peace if I say yes? Let me know what you think down in the comments. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button on Golden Years Stories. We've got more wisdom coming your way, child. All right now, let's move on to the next heartfelt story. This one goes like this.
A user named Remarkable Office said on Reddit, AITA got telling my DIL that she isn't my kid, and she isn't invited to a daughter's lunch. I have 2 daughters, boos, when they were younger. My wife and I realized that I spent more time with the boys, and she spent more time with the girls. So we made father-daughter dates for me, and she does son-mom dates. They are all adults now, but we still do those dates, but they are just less often. So my 2 daughters and I are going to have tea house. The youngest picked it, and just catch up. Now my oldest son got married to Sue. She is a nice girl, and I see her at holidays and other events. I got a call from Sue, asking about times for tea. I was confused and asked what she was talking about. She explained the daughter-father date, and I am her daughter-in-law. I told her, this is just a thing between me and my daughters. She repeated that she is my daughter-in-law. This went on for a few times, until I told her that she isn't my kid, and that she is not invited. She hung up, and now I am getting calls from my oldest, my son, her husband, for being a jerk and not welcoming her into the family. Update. I had a conversation with my son. He is the one that mentioned it. I explained what happened, and he told me that is what he heard from Sue after she calmed down. He called me a jerk since she was crying, and he thought I flipped out on her. I also talked to Sue, and she gave an apology, and I apologized for being harsh. She heard about it from my son and thought it would be a nice way to get closer to my daughters. I explained the tradition, and she told me she understood from the first call. She panicked since I told her no, so she kept repeating. She told me she was quite embarrassed and asked if she was still invited to the Halloween dinner coming up. She is. She wants a closer relationship with my daughter, since she is an only girl on her family. I told her that is a conversation with them, and trying to force herself into traditions won't help that. I suggested she invite them out to a winery or something. Also, she did find this thread. A Reddit user named Remarkable Office commented, IDK, it wasn't me. I checked with the girls, so it wasn't them. I messaged my oldest, and he hasn't responded yet, but probably him. Edit. According to him, he mentioned it. Also, my daughter reached out to him, asking why he invited her. He is claiming he didn't, and just mentioned it. We are going to have a full conversation with him in a bit. Remarkable Office commented, they still have mom-son dates. It's usually to a sport event. I think my eldest is upset since I made Sue cry, according to him. I wasn't welcoming. Wheel Purple commented, you obviously don't have to invite your DIL. I will say, however, that I had the greatest MEL in the world, and one of the reasons is that she immediately included me and her other DIL in most of the girls' events that she did with her daughter, like lunches and shopping trips. Not every time, they also had some mother-daughter events alone. Because she accepted me so completely in the family, even though she has now passed, my SIL and I are still incredibly close, actually closer than I am to my bio sister. Our children are as close as siblings, and the entire extended family gets along beautifully with no drama. Remarkable Office commented, my wife laughed when I told her, and basically said that was ridiculous. I haven't informed my 2 daughters. I probably should. I'll give them a text before they hear about it from someone else.
Well now, bless your heart for asking. You know, in all my years sitting across kitchen tables, church basements, and family counseling couches, I've learned one simple truth. Family ain't just blood, but it ain't forced either. Let's take a walk through this one slow and fair. First off, you, sir, are not the villain. You've had this father-daughter tradition for years, long before weddings, tea houses, and Reddit threads. That little routine of yours, that's sacred space. That's where you connected, one-on-one, just you and your girls. Ain't nothing wrong with that. And let me say this for the folks in the back. Having traditions does not mean you're excluding people. It means you're honoring what was already built. Now, the way you said it, you're not my kid. Ooh, yeah, I reckon that stung a bit. Might have come out sharper than you meant. You were clear, but not soft. And sometimes clarity without compassion can feel like rejection, even when it's not. But you didn't slam a door. You didn't curse her out. You just told the truth. Maybe with a bit too much bark, not enough honey. Now let's look at Sue's side. She's the new gal in the family. No sisters of her own. Probably trying real hard to connect, find her place. And when she heard about this father-daughter date, well, she saw a door and thought maybe, just maybe, someone would let her in. I don't think she was trying to hijack the tea party. She just wanted to feel seen. And I'll tell you, any daughter-in-law that wants to get closer to your girls instead of stewing in silence, that's a blessing, not a burden. She might have fumbled the delivery, but the heart behind it was pure. Now here's where the real wisdom comes in. Family bonds thrive on clarity and kindness. You had every right to keep your tea time just you and the girls, but you also did the right thing in following up, apologizing, and explaining the why. That's what a good man does. And she did her part, too, owning her panic, making peace, asking for a second chance. That's called emotional maturity, folks. Let me tell you what I'd tell my Wednesday night men's group at church. You don't gotta change your tradition. Just consider making new ones, alongside the old. A little family winery day, maybe even a girls-only trip she plans herself. That gives her a shot at building something real with her sisters-in-law, not wedging her way into what already exists. So are you the jerk? Nah, you're just a man trying to balance love and loyalty. But next time, soften the tone and let folks know your no doesn't mean never. It just means not this time. Now I'll leave you with a question, same as always. What does love look like when it tells the truth and keeps the door open? Chew on that a while. And don't forget, the front porch light of grace is always worth leaving on. See y'all next time on Golden Years Stories. Hit that subscribe button and bring a friend. We've got more tales of faith, family, and funny business coming your way. All right now, let's move on to the next heartfelt story. This one goes like this.
A user named Geek Girl said on Reddit, AITA for not inviting one girl to my daughter's birthday party. I, 35F, have an 8-year-old daughter who's turning 9 next month. She goes to a small school, and there are only 6 other girls in her year. For her birthday, she's asked for a small sleepover party with just the girls from her class, which I'm happy to host at mine. Here's the issue. One of the girls in her year has been relentlessly bullying her for the past 6 months. She's flushed one of my daughter's toys down the toilet, regularly yells at her during break time, kicked her in the head, yes, really, and most recently threatened to kill her pets. My daughter has come home in tears multiple times, and I've spoken to the school, but not much has changed. Given all this, I told my daughter she absolutely doesn't have to invite this girl to her birthday. I don't want to teach her that politeness and keeping the peace should come at the cost of her own mental health and safety. I was bullied at school and couldn't escape it for the same reasons. If this were an adult friendship, I'd be telling her to cut the toxicity out of her life and I don't think a birthday party should be an exception. Here's where I might be the asshole. My ex-husband, her dad, thinks we should invite the girl because it's the kind thing to do, and that we should be teaching her to include everyone. He says it's mean to invite all the other girls but exclude just one, and that we're teaching our daughter to be cold and unkind. I get that on the surface, excluding one kid might seem harsh, but does that still apply when the kid has made your child's life miserable? I don't want to be petty, but I also don't think my daughter should have to play host to someone who actively bullies her just to avoid social awkwardness. So Reddit, AITA for not wanting to invite one girl to my daughter's party. A Reddit user named Deleted commented, "Sounds like a good time for this bully to realize actions have consequences. When you torture another kid relentlessly, no, you're not invited to their birthday party." Ong Oil commented, "NTA, you don't invite bullies to parties. Life is not a Disney movie, and it's not up to children to heal each other. Any issues that kid has are not yours to solve." Deleted commented, "I don't think excluding one child from a party is the worst thing to do, as long nobody brings invitations to school and hand them out during class or anything. It's best to get the address and mail the invites or go door to door. We need to start teaching children that it's fine not to be invited to things. That's just life. People are excluded from things all the time. Also, remind your daughter to not talk about her upcoming party in class, even though it's exciting. That will hurt the bully's feelings, and then the school or the bullies may parents get involved, and that's a headache."
Now listen here, Mama. You are not the villain in this story. In fact, you're one of the few grown-ups in it doing the right thing. Let me tell you, I've been sitting with families for decades, and I've seen it all. The sleepovers gone sideways, the play dates that end in tears, the birthday party dramas with more tension than a church potluck after a sermon on tithing. But this one's simple. Here's the heart of it. Boundaries are not cruelty, and inclusion is not an obligation. You ain't teaching your daughter to be mean. You're teaching her to protect her peace. And honey, in this world, that's a sacred skill. We've got enough women walking around today who were taught as little girls that being nice matters more than being safe. Being liked matters more than being respected. And don't make waves is more important than don't let people walk all over you. Not on your watch, not on mine. Now let's talk about that bully. That little girl doesn't need cake and a goodie bag. She needs correction, guidance, and, frankly, consequences. You kick someone in the head and threaten to kill their pets? Sugar, that's not just a phase, that's a red flag with fireworks. And your daughter? She deserves a birthday where she ain't watching her back every 5 minutes. She deserves to feel loved, safe, celebrated, not stressed out wondering if the girl who flushed her toys is gonna sabotage her sleepover. Now, your ex-husband, bless his heart. I get where he's coming from. He wants to raise a kind girl, but he's confusing niceness with martyrdom. Kindness does not mean sacrificing your child's emotional well-being on the altar of someone else's bad behavior. And let me say this as plain as a peanut butter sandwich. Forgiveness and hospitality are not the same thing. You can forgive someone, even pray for him, and still not invite him to your party. So no, you're not being cold. You're being wise. You're teaching your daughter one of life's most important truths. You are not required to set yourself on fire to keep other folks warm. Now, here's a bit of grandma-style advice. Send the invitations quietly. No need for a scene at school. Remind your girl not to brag or broadcast the party in class. That ain't about fear, that's about class. If the school calls, stand your ground. You're not excluding this child from education, just from a private celebration in your own home. And don't you ever let anyone guilt you out of protecting your child. Now, I'll leave y'all with the same question I ask my parenting group every month. When you say yes to others, are you accidentally saying no to your child? Think on that. And if you like what you're hearing, tap that subscribe button right here on Golden Years Stories, where we blend faith, family, and common sense every week. God bless y'all. And happy early birthday to your little girl. May her party be full of laughter, love, and zero drama. All right now, let's move on to the next heartfelt story. This one goes like this.
A user named New Hair said on Reddit, AITA, for telling my daughter-in-law she is never welcome at my home again. I, full 44, have a 23-year-old biological son, as well as 3 foster children, 2 boys, 9 and 17, and 1 girl, 12. I have been a foster parent since my son was 4. I am a social worker as well. He has gone through life understanding the system and the horrors these kids face. The 3 that I have right now, I am planning to adopt. I love them as my own. The last 2 Christmas, I have not had my biological son, Tyler, home. He has spent them with his girlfriend and wife now of 8 months family. I have always respected it. She is much less independent than Tyler, and her family suffered the loss of a grandfather, so they wanted her there for the holidays. This Christmas, Tyler has been telling me that him and Sonia, my DL, will spend Christmas with our family. Well, the day before yesterday, Tyler told me he feels like he owes a debt to Sonia's family for the extravagant wedding gift they gave them, and he felt pressured to spend another holiday with them. I didn't believe him. I know when my son is lying. After pressing for about 15 minutes, he revealed to me that Sonia felt uncomfortable spending Christmas at our home because it did not feel genuine. She says that my foster children are not real family, so it takes away from the spirit of the holiday. I would never let anyone be so disrespectful to Tyler, so why would I let this fly with my other children? I told him fine, but if she don't feel comfortable at Christmas, then I don't ever feel comfortable with her around my kids, and she cannot step foot in this house again. I have always treated her with kindness and respect. I love her because she loves my son, and he loves her, but I will not let anyone exclude my children. My husband believes I am going to cause a wedge between us and our son, but right now I am so disappointed in him. This is not who I raised him to be. Maybe a wedge is needed for him to come to his senses. So Reddit, am I the asshole? TLDR, my DIL doesn't consider my family genuine because I have foster children. So she and my son will be spending the 3rd Christmas in a row with her family. I told my son she is no longer welcome at my home. A Reddit user named Deleted commented, NTA, she could seriously hurt your kids. It's good that you're not allowing that. I agree that he might need this wedge. Ruta Opinion Giver commented, what could be more Christmas than extending love to people who need it? Not much. New Hair commented, this is not the first time she has given my foster children grief. I had a 16-year-old girl a couple of months ago, and when Sonia's come by to use our washer and dryer, she asked very condescendingly, how long will you be here for? Shara Mom commented, NTA. That being said, your husband is likely correct, and you will now have limited contact with your son and little to no relationship with your future grandchildren. So be prepared for that. If you are saying your DIL is never allowed over again, it means just that, and also means you won't be allowed in their home or at their events. Never is a long time. Gwe's mom commented, I was totally prepared to respond differently, but after reading it, you are NTA. How hurt your younger children would be if they were to hear her say such a thing in front of them. I wouldn't allow her in either. New Hair commented, I will never, ever go no contact with my son. Nothing he could do for me to give up on him. But I will not allow her to say something that potentially sets my other children back in the progress that they have made in feeling so secure in our family.
Now listen, Mama. You're carrying a heavy heart right now, and I don't blame you one bit. I read every word of your story, and I can feel the love you have for those children, every single one of them. not just your biological son, but your foster children who are, in every way that matters, your babies too. The blood may be different, but the bond? That's made of love, sacrifice, midnight worry, and mama strength. And that's real family in my book. Now, let's get to the heart of it. You are not the villain. You're a mother standing in the gap for her children. Children who already know what it's like to feel unwanted, unloved, and shuffled around like boxes. And just when they start to feel safe, someone comes along and says they don't count. That ain't just rude. That's dangerous. Your daughter-in-law didn't just decline a dinner invitation. She dismissed your children's very identity as family. And that can do real harm to kids still learning to trust that this time, the love is gonna stick. But now, let's talk about your son. He's a grown man in love. And when folks fall in love, they don't always see clearly. Sometimes they go along to keep the peace, even when it means hurting the people who raised him right. That doesn't make him evil. It just means he's human and conflicted. But let me be real with you. If he can't draw the line at someone disrespecting his mother's children, then yeah, maybe a wedge ain't the worst thing. Sometimes a little space lets the truth echo louder. Now about that never. You said she's never welcome in your home again. And I get it. I do. Your children's safety and sense of family comes first. But I'm also gonna gently challenge you, mama to mama. Don't slam the door, leave it latched. Because time changes people. Hearts soften. Growth happens. And one day, your son may come back, hat in hand, and ask for a path to healing. When that day comes, be ready, with boundaries still firm, but your spirit still open. A little scripture for comfort. Whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. Matthew 25:40. You are doing holy work, loving those children. You're showing them what real, unconditional family looks like. And for that, I say God bless you. Final thought? You're not the one tearing the family apart. You're the one trying to hold it together with grace and courage. Just don't let righteous anger become bitterness. Stay firm, but stay tender. And if I may offer a little question I ask all my families in hard times, do you want to be right, or do you want to be whole? Sometimes, just leaving room for reconciliation down the road is the biggest act of love you can give, not for her, but for him. You're doing the best you can in a near impossible situation, Mama, and I'm proud of you. If this story touched your heart, leave a comment and subscribe right here to Golden Years Stories, where we hold space for real talk, deep love, and the grace it takes to keep families going. God bless you and your whole household. All right now, let's move on to the next heartfelt story. This one goes like this.
A user named AirSignificant on Reddit, AITA, for going home after my in-laws excluded me from dinner at a restaurant. IF26 went on a family trip with my in-laws 2 weeks ago. MIL always thought that I am a bit ignorant and backward, and that just because I come from lower class family compared to hers, that I have no etiquette. After we arrived to the hotel, they arranged to visit a fancy restaurant for dinner. My husband avoided telling me, and I learned it last minute after he had already got dressed. I asked where he was going, and he said he and family were going to eat out, but I wasn't invited because his mom assumed that since I wouldn't be familiar with the food and how to eat it there at the restaurant, then it's better for me to stay in and eat at the hotel. I didn't argue. I just let him go. Then I packed and took the first flight home. He freaked out and called many times, and when he found out that I went home, he blew up and called me ridiculous and irrational to do this. Even said that I acted in an ungrateful manner and embarrassed him in front of his family after he literally begged to have me go on the trip. We argued, and he started giving MD silent treatment after he came home. Moreover, his family are indirectly criticizing me on Facebook about what I did. Did I overreact? A Reddit user named Ben and Rude commented, "You need a new husband. He should have stuck up for you. Either you both go or neither." NTA Sexy Saxo commented, "You underreacted. His family may be a bunch of assholes, but he didn't defend you when his mother said such atrocities. He actually thinks his mother is right, and you don't belong there. Get out now, fast, and find yourself someone who appreciates you." NTA's Monkey commented, "NTA, it's offensive for your husband and his family to exclude you from this dinner. Their reason for doing so is atrocious. It's even worse for him not to inform you in advance that he'd be having dinner without you. That your husband doesn't understand why his behavior and his family's behavior is completely unacceptable just compounds their H-ness." Dry Promotion commented, "What the hell did I just read? The only response should be, NTA, you hubby, is a massive AH for not standing up for you, for going behind your back to a meal in a group vacation, for being surprised and upset that you left that vacation to go home, and is now giving you the silent treatment. Honey, I have never said this to a post as it is just a snapshot of a relationship, but this relationship is toxic. You need to leave and not look back. He is never going to support you or choose you over his family. WTF, you are so low class you can't eat at a nice restaurant. What does that even mean?"
Now listen to me, sweetheart. I want you to take a deep breath. Maybe pour yourself a cup of tea and know this. You are not crazy. You are not irrational. And you are most definitely not the problem. I've counseled women for over 40 years. I've sat with broken hearts, broken promises, and women just like you, kind, thoughtful, generous, trying to make peace in a war they didn't start. What happened to you wasn't just rude. It was intentional exclusion dressed up as etiquette. Let me say it straight. Your in-laws humiliated you. And your husband? He stood by, zipped up his little fancy pants, and went right along with it. Didn't tell you ahead of time, didn't stand up for you, didn't sit this dinner out in protest like a man should have. No, ma'am. He put his family's snobbery ahead of your dignity. And then, when you quietly left with your pride still intact, they called you ungrateful. Honey, the only thing you were too full of was self-respect. Here's the part that breaks my heart. You said he had to beg them to include you on a family trip. Let me ask you something. If someone has to beg their family to include their wife, then you're not the problem. The whole foundation is, you're not a guest in this marriage. You're supposed to be a partner. And that man, he didn't act like one. Now let's talk about your instincts. You didn't yell. You didn't cause a scene. You packed your things, held your head high, and left. That wasn't irrational. That was courage. You said to yourself, if they don't think I belong at their table, I'll build my own table somewhere I'm wanted. And I say amen to that. Now here's the real question, sweetheart. Are you willing to spend your life with someone who only protects you when it's convenient? 'Cause it ain't the fancy dinners that matter. It's whether he holds your hand when the world's against you. And from what you described, his hands were in his lap while his mama insulted your name. My advice? You don't need to burn the whole barn down, but you sure as heck don't need to keep feeding the animals that bite you. Sit down with your husband. Ask him plainly, do you see me as your equal or your embarrassment? And don't settle for silence. His answer is going to show you exactly where you stand in this marriage. and where you'll be standing 10 years from now, if nothing changes. And finally, from one woman of faith to another, God is not the author of confusion, but of peace. 1 Corinthians 14:33. If this relationship is only ever making you doubt your worth, your value, your belonging, then, child, that ain't love. That's bondage. You deserve a love that defends you, not hides you. If this touched your heart, leave a comment and follow along here at Golden Years Stories, where we speak truth wrapped in tenderness, because you were never meant to walk through hard things alone. Stay strong, stay grounded, and don't you dare let anyone dim your light, just 'cause they can't handle your shine. God bless you, child. All right now, let's move on to the next heartfelt story. This one goes like this.
A user named Deleted on Reddit, AITA, for refusing to allow my wife to host holiday dinner for my son and daughter-in-law when they disrespected her by not inviting her to their wedding. I am a 55-year-old male. My wife and I have been married for 10 years. I have a son with my ex-wife. He met my current wife 2 years after the divorce. My current wife is 35. My son was 15 when I met her. She has always tried to be good to my son, but him and his mother have always tried to cause problems. His mother was jealous when I moved on from her after she divorced me, so she could have a chance with her new director in the hospital she worked. When that didn't work out, she tried to come between me and my then girlfriend, as she stated she wanted me back. I am telling you all this so you can understand the BS my current wife went through and why I won't allow this dinner to happen. When my son and his girlfriend decided to get married, they sent an invitation with just me on it. When I asked why was my wife's name not on there, my son said she didn't want her there. Now, my wife has spent money on my son when he was a teenager and made it possible for me to give him the things he wanted at that time. She sacrificed things she wanted to do so that I could be there for him. When we got that invitation, my wife said it was perfectly fine and to go and have a great time. Well, I went to the wedding. This was in April of this year, and my wife did her thing. Now last week, my ex-wife informed me that she was going to go up to Tennessee for Christmas with her new boyfriend, and that if we wanted to host Christmas dinner for my son and his wife, she was fine with it. I said nothing because it's not any of her business. My son asked me about it a few days later, and I told him that we will absolutely not host Christmas dinner at our house because my wife was not invited to their wedding, and she will not be used and disrespected in her own home. I made it clear to him that this house is majority hers as she got the loan, and I pay the mortgage, just in case he tried to say this was my house. He got upset and stated it was not fair to just exclude him and his new bride. I explained to him that I am making plans with my wife to go to a nice restaurant and have Christmas dinner. My wife's family lives out of state, and so does my family, so it's not a big celebration. I told him he could spend Christmas with his wife's family for dinner, and that we had planned to just drop his and his wife's gifts off to them. My son called me a piece of shit and an asshole for not making his wife feel welcomed. I reminded him that he never made mine feel welcomed either, and not inviting her to the wedding was the icing on the cake. I'm not choosing my wife over my son. I am demanding respect for her in her own home. I feel justified. However, my son told his crazy mother, and she has been harassing my wife on the phone about how she has broken my son's family. I called her to remind her that she was trying to have an affair when we were married and divorced me. Now my son won't speak to me. My current wife said she appreciated me standing up for hers, but would like to see me mend me relationship. A Reddit user named Deleted commented, "She is one of a kind, and she has been there when things got rough and always found a way to get through it. She has forgiven people for the cruelest acts, and it's time she has someone stand up for her. I can't think of a better person. When I met her family before our wedding, her entire family is like her, and they were loved by everyone in their small town. They are good-hearted people, And my wife came from a poor family, but their hearts are as big as the ocean. We'll do anything for you. Deleted commented, my son is very entitled, and this is exactly why he needs to learn. You do not treat people the way he does and expect them to be nice to him. Deleted commented, he has a sweet wife, and I think a lot of this comes from him. I can't see his wife being the one to constantly have disdain for my wife. I think my son is just the way his mother is, and his wife goes along to get along. Latter Cost commented, they sound like a bunch of entitled idiots. It's hard to mend relationships with people like that.
Now listen here, brother. You are in one of those real-life crossroads where loyalty, love, and legacy all collide at the holiday table. And I've got to say, you're not wrong for drawing that line in the sand, not even a little. First of all, your home is your sanctuary, and your wife, she deserves respect in it. This woman has stood beside you through storms. She didn't just love you. She opened her heart and her wallet to help raise a son that wasn't even hers. She's been generous, quiet, forgiving, and now she's being treated like an outsider in her own house. Let me say this loud for the folks in the back. You don't get to exclude someone from your wedding, then expect a seat at their holiday table. That's not how family or decency works. Now, your son. I'm going to speak plain, but with love. He sounds like a young man who's gotten too used to getting his way without accountability. And the best way to teach a boy to become a man is to show him that actions come with consequences, especially when they hurt the people who've done right by him. You're not choosing your wife over your son. You're choosing respect over enabling. And brother, that takes strength. But let's not throw the whole bridge in the fire. Now I hear you, and I admire you for standing up for your wife. She deserves that. She earned that. And I hope she knows she married a man with a backbone. But your wife's heart? Still soft enough to ask for healing between you and your boy. That tells me one thing. You married a woman with grace. And grace is always the better path. So here's what I'd suggest. Leave the door open, but locked until there's repentance. Send your son a message. Something like, son, I love you. Always have. Always will. But this home is built on respect. And right now, your actions don't match that. When you're ready to talk with kindness, the table is open. Until then, I'll be praying for you. Final thought, from a man who's watched decades of Christmases come and go. A house divided can be repaired, but only if both sides are willing to lay down their pride and pick up the tools of humility. You've done your part. Now, stand firm in truth, but let your heart stay open to reconciliation for your wife, for your son, for yourself. If this message touched your heart, leave a comment and follow along here at Golden Years Stories, where we blend faith, family, and real talk that meets you right where you're at. And may your Christmas be filled with peace, clarity, and just the right kind of silence, the peaceful kind.